right, there it is.
Here
Hope
we
everyone
go.
enjoyed the new intro we got.
That's right.
How's everyone been since last week? Good.
It's been pretty good. Just, working 9 to 5.
Feeling more like now.
Yeah, definitely. It's getting a lot warmer. But other than that, it's been, I don't know, equivalent. I don't Yeah, that's been about it.
Well, we're live right now on a couple different platforms. I just want to give a shout out if anyone's watching us there on Kick or on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Got the ticker, so we'll see who comes on live.
That's right.
Want to drop a comment? We'll be looking out for your comments. Oh, we got one viewer right now, right on.
Whoopee!
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. We were kind of going over some things earlier today, and one of the things I wanted to bring up before we start talking about what we left off with last week. We'll get to those shit coins and stuff in a moment, but I don't know. How do I say this? I have a really big problem with like the outgoing generation. Like, and I don't want to sound like a dick, but like, are the baby boomers like starting to fizzle out, or like do you feel like they're like on their last limb? I'm just being honest.
They got 1 foot in the grave.
They got 1 foot in the grave, man. But like, it kills me because it's like these baby boomers, they don't know what's in touch or not anymore. And I'm not saying that like they're bad people. I just think that you got to pass on the baton, man.
Absolutely. And I think that's a big generational thing that a lot of communities have to deal with, where the people that have been running the show for a very long time need to figure out a way or like a better sort of packaging that is able to be moved from one generation to the next. Like, I feel like, especially in the Jewish sense, they're always talking about, what is it, Lador Vador, from generation to generation. I think there's a lot of talk about that. But I think that the way in which it's actually like moved from generation to generation isn't actually done very well. And I understand that. I think it can be very uncomfortable also, because when you move the baton from one person to another, one generation to another, you also cede a lot of autonomy and control over something that you're used to running and used to doing, which can be incredibly scary and can also be like a admission of like, well, I'm getting older. I'm becoming more vulnerable, I'm becoming something that I didn't think I could become or wasn't thinking about for a very long time until it happens. And I think that aging process is something a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah, I mean it's sad though, because it's like they tell you that life starts at 40, but they don't like hand you the tools like, hey,
Oh, hell no.
At some point you're gonna have to pass this shit on to somebody else, right? Like, I don't know. And a lot of those boomers, like, they don't ask for help. They don't like. I don't know. I feel like, what was the generation before the boomers? Was it the silent generation? I feel like they were like neglected in a way.
Yeah.
And that kind of screwed it up because if you look at the cycle, how it goes, the next generation was the Gen X kids, and they didn't obviously give a shit about anything, like no fucking rules, cocaine, like the whole works, right? Like, so that kind of shows you where the distinction is from them to the boomers. And it's like, I'm a millennial, but like, I feel so far removed from that.
Mm-hmm.
Where was I go? Oh, what I was trying to say was, yeah, at some point, I'm blaming the boomers for like 99% of the world's problems today, and I'm not trying to like put petty on all of them, but I mean, fuck, look at some of these congressmen and women that can't leave the office. They've been in like the Senate for like 90 years. You know what I mean? Like,
why would you want to leave? It's a pretty sweet deal. You get to inside trade, and you also have retirement benefits. or at least the equivalent of that. I mean, it's a pretty sweet deal. I wouldn't leave that if I was Nancy Pelosi.
But that's like the issue. It's kind of human nature where like they've been carrying the torch, like the boomers just generally for so long, and like nobody wants to, like no one's willingly gonna give that up, like for the most part. Like you know what I mean? Where it's just like you want it to keep going and you think it's just gonna kind of keep on going and going and going. And I think part of it is like psychological, like I think you get to a certain age where like your brain like is like you're pretty much set in your ways. You know what I mean? Where like that's just kind of you. There's really no changing. It's kind of like that whole like saying like you can't teach an old dog like new tricks, where like it's like and they're just going off like basically what they know. And so like I think that's part of the issue because a lot of the boomers like I deal with, it's always like, oh well, back in my day we did this, we do this, X, Y, and Z way. And it's like they expect like X, Y, and Z way to basically like be the way even now. And that it's like that just doesn't work like whatsoever.
Well, that's like a boomer phenomenon, like I would say across state lines too, because that's not even like an American boomer thing. That's like, sometimes it's, I don't want to sound like prejudiced, but sometimes it can be kind of like an older person thing too, because it's like older person in Asia, older person in Mexico, older person in like,
Middle
the
East
Middle
or
East, the global South. It's the same thing, They want things that are done a certain way that they're used to, and they don't want it done anyway else. And I understand that too, because it's like, well, if that's the way that things have been going for you and that's worked for you, well, why wouldn't you want it to be done any way else, right? Like, I understand how that feels to have that sense of consistency. Well, not that I personally understand that. I think as a younger person, actually, we're like subjected to more of the world than any other demographic like group of people. But at least I can be kind of envious of a group of people who at least could say like, oh yeah, we had a consistent way of running the world in our communities and things like that. And this is the way we want to do it. And this is the way we're always going to do it. Like, I get it. I really understand that. But things are changing.
A lot of this also goes back to like what we were, kind of discussing before we came on is people don't want to take accountability for the shit that they've caused, because you got to remember, since civil rights was enacted, like there's a lot of shit that came with that these folks don't want to take accountability for. But I'm not going to even go there. We know what it is. I just don't like the fact that these are the same folks that want to bitch about back in my day, but they can't accept the fact on like, well, maybe I could fix what's wrong right now. You know what I mean? And like for too long, I've seen that kind of behavior. I don't know, man. Like I said, I got nothing against the older generation. I mean, I'm around old people all the time, but it's like the boomers, man, they fucking, there's an old saying, someday you'll have to answer to somebody, and I think that day's fucking coming. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
I don't know. How lead to that?
It's all wisdom, I think, at the end of the day, and I think that a lot of people delude themselves into thinking that, well, I won't see the consequence of my actions, whether that be like immediate and personal or larger on like the sociological scale. And then when those consequences happen, people like to feel incredulous and confused about what happens afterwards, in a way to kind of exonerate themselves from it and to distance themselves from what has happened. To say that, well, I mean, I only played a part in all the positive things that happened afterwards, only the positive things and not necessarily the negative. And it's all like, a learning kind of moment too. What do you think?
Yeah, and it's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it's kind of like that saying, like victory has like 100 fathers and defeat is an orphan. Like they only really want to claim like the good stuff, and then like even then, like a lot of the good stuff only really benefited like them,
right?
And so like it's just like this whole like way of like thinking, and it's like this mindset that's just like so foreign, I think, to anyone that's like like millennial and like younger, where it's like we didn't grow up with that stability. We didn't grow up like basically getting bailed out, getting all this sort of like this all these sort of like benefits kind of heaped up on us. You know what I mean? It's like a completely sort of alien mentality to all of us.
No, I mean, I totally agree with that. Like, I think that what it is too is like, I mean, I belong to like several organizations, and like, there's been so many times where it's sad. Like, I feel like I'm not pushing people out, but like, I kind of have to like escort them to their quote unquote retirement essentially, because it's like, as you know, you get older, your cognitive functions start going down, and like you're not able to remember certain things anymore, and it's sad. It's like, it's not elder abuse, but it's like, fuck, man, like I can't watch your decline like right in front of me. You know what I mean? Like, I got to do something about that. But I mean, on the same token, I feel like they should know, this is why like there should be term limits. There should be like certain ways of like certain procedures in play. Like, if someone's not functioning properly, to not let them be in charge of like certain offices, I feel. But
Yeah.
I mean, what, you got guys like fucking McConnell, he's like what, 109, and
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi, who's like a skeleton now, and fucking, I don't know, man.
I mean, it's like this joke I made about how, like, you know, when we were at synagogue, and I was like, everyone was like dancing together and holding hands, and I was like, oh fuck, dude, this sounds like when you drop a bag of Legos on the ground.
Oh,
And then I felt really bad when I like made that joke, because I was like, oh man, like, I'm sorry, but like, you know, you can't help but feel like a certain kind of way about all this, where it's like, I think there's a very strong sense of unwillingness for older folks to pass that baton, whether that be through power or responsibility or whatever it is, you know, to younger folks, right? This inability to be like, hey, like, we want you to handle at least one part of it. Yeah, I don't know.
no, that's like what I was talking to a friend about this shit earlier. We were talking about like how there was an article I read that said that so much of like the country is like, I think we talked about this a little bit recently, like might have been last week, I'm not sure, but we were talking about how so much of the country is now non-religious. And I think there's a reason for that, but like when you look at like religious organizations, it's like, you're right, it's like everybody's either retired, gonna retire, fucking like
Process of retiring.
process of retire. There's like no medium. Like, there's no, you like, you either get like young folks that are like they're pretty much like teenagers, or you get like the boomers that are like going out, like we said. There's no in between.
I guess the question is, though, like, if you've only got really young people who are kind of at the beginning of their lives, professionally and socially, right? And then you've got old people with a lot of wisdom and stuff. Like, well, what about the people in the middle? That's kind of one thing to like worry about. And then two, like, how can like older people actually be stewards for younger people in a more meaningful way? Because I've always felt like that, like, I don't know, the mentorship aspect has always been lacking when it comes to older folks. I don't know, like, where people are very like established in their own lives, but once they're kind of established, you don't really care about anyone else. You know what I
No.
mean?
No, I feel it. I think that I don't know. I feel like they're established, but are they truly happy? That's my question, because all I ever do hear people bitching, complaining, like nobody's ever satisfied. Like I was saying, I'll just come out and say it. I said it to you guys earlier before the show started. Like, that doesn't give them a right to be dicks. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's what they're doing. They're just basically being a bunch of dicks, and I'm like, what the fuck, man?
You deserve this. I
Yeah,
know.
and then they get all like offended, like, why are you talking to me like that? I'm like, no, it's like, you don't have to be an asshole, man. Like, if you give respect, it's gonna come back to you. Like, that's how I work, but I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, I think also like people's behaviors, it's like a lifetime of shaped behaviors, especially boomers. That's a really unique generation that they've received a lot of like things in life, right? Like that post Vietnam War economic boost, and like rapid industrialization of the United States post World War II, stuff like that I think millennials and Gen Zers haven't been able to benefit from. I mean, fuck, dude. The only like cultural legacy we've really been affected by is the '08 crisis.
9/11.
Yeah, 9/11. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. 9/11 and the '08 crisis. And like, I think that we've done a pretty good job, all things considered, being positive with what's been given to us historically and culturally. And so I don't know. It's like, bro, cut us some slack. Like, please help us out. But I think a lot of it too is like the culture of millennials and Gen Zers, where it's like, I don't care about like the older population. I don't care about like my parents or my parents' parents' generation. Like, let's cut them off. Is actually a cultural remnant of like the boomers, where it's like, well, if they don't feel like they directly benefit us in any way, well, let's cut them off. That's a very like civil rights era hippy dippy kind of thing to do. You know what I mean, though? And I think it's kind of trickled down to like our like sort of younger people, whatever culture. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it also depends because like kind of go back to like what you were saying, Derek. When I talk to boomers, like personally, it's rarely pleasant. I will say like maybe out of 10 times, it's like maybe 1 or 2 times, it's like they're like really chill or cool people to talk to, and then like,
Other times it's super annoying.
well, yeah, or like at best they're annoying, or it's like they're just really really rude. And I always kind of can't help but wonder like when you were young, like like were you like this like too? Like was this a thing? And so like you also hear all these horror stories where it's like the boomers will kick their kids out like at 18 when like you don't have like anything really like professionally going for you. Like you're actually at like a very like precarious like time of your life, and like they'll throw you out.
Kicked out, and it's like, what do you do with that?
And in a lot of ways, it sets you up for like debt,
failure.
Failure,
student loan debt, all that.
Yeah, and so I always like I can kind of get it when like the younger generation is like, oh, like cut the parents off and like so on and so forth, especially if it's kind of this contentious sort of like relationship.
I mean, can we really, as Gen Z people though, say it's about cutting parents off when it's like boomers are more like the parents of Gen Xers, and in some ways like Gen Xers too, they're like they kind of fall prey to the same behavioral issues as boomers do too, to be fair. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that. But I also feel like they're like they're kind of like very rebellious too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but I also feel like Gen Xers, like as they're starting to boom, they're starting to become like those folks. Like, oh, the new generations. It's like, I mean, I think that's just a part of life. Like everyone kind of gets there at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, fuck, like. There's a lot of fucking complaining, like from like 1980, like backwards, man. Like I just feel like it's unnecessary bullshit too. Like a lot of the shit that like the boomers are bitching about. I don't know. Maybe to them it's still real. Like you were talking about, like coming back from Vietnam and like all this crazy shit they went through. I mean, come on, man. Like look at the last 25 years. I mean. We've seen the towers come down, fucking COVID, Ebola, all this bullshit going on. And, like, we're still here. I mean, I don't think anyone's really fucked up from all that stuff, right? I mean,
we're still figuring it out. We're still,
trudging along.
I
I don't know. I think that, like, it's fuck.
I think
The way
a
I
lot of
look-
it too is we're like kind of the first couple of generations to deal with globalization and its impacts.
Consequences.
The consequences of globalization, both positive and negative. Positive in the sense that we have access to global markets like, I don't know, China and the rest of the world. Negative in the sense that now we're subject to all of the other forces in the rest of the world, right? And you can kind of ascertain that like kind of difference too by like the way that people respond when you ask them about like 9/11. In my experience, I have a lot of like family friends and stuff, you know, who have very interesting answers when I ask them, well, where were you and what were you doing during 9/11? And a lot of them were like, you know, in different points in their lives, like as to what they were doing in 9/11. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It's an interesting point on that topic. What were you doing during 9/11?
9/11. Yeah,
Derek?
what were you doing during 9/11? Because I was a
I was-
fetus.
I was in fucking oh gosh, what was I? 12? Shit, now you got me guess my own age here. Yeah, I was in 7th grade. Yeah, I was in 7th grade. That's right. Now I'm thinking right.
TV.
And like, did
Yes,
you
sir.
watch?
Did you watch it live? Was your
No,
teacher?
I was
Oh my God, the Tao people.
yeah, they just kept playing the album. They just kept playing that shit over and over and fucking over and like I was like, all right. It's like fucking it's like I was a baby, but like I remember they kept talking about like this earthquake in '89. Like they just kept showing the same fucking footage.
Going.
Yeah, I was like on a loop all day. I was like, all right, I get it. Like I got to get the fuck away from TV for a little bit, right? So like, I'm over there trying to take a walk, and then like, I know it's weird, man, because like, I mean, when I was there, I mean, fuck, how old were you guys when that shit happened?
Like I think I was still in gestation.
Wait, oh,
I think I was like floating around in amniotic fluid.
no, it happened in 2001.
Seriously? Oh fuck!
No, I'm fucking. I'm joking around, dude. I was like 1 year old.
Yeah,
I was
same.
like rolling around and shitting myself. You know, I don't think a
Whoa.
baby was around saying 9/11.
Exactly.
Like,
Hey, you guys make me feel old as fuck, man. No, like, oh,
I mean,
No.
it's funny because my parents, you know, when they talk about 9/11, all they can think about is, oh my God, did you know that like one of our guys, like ethnic group, was like there working as a janitor inside of the Twin Towers? That's like that's their link to 9/11. Oh my God, did you know that like an Asian guy worked in the Twin Towers during
there was an Asian janitor that worked in there.
janitor that worked during 9/11? And I'm like, that's what you guys got from 9/11.
That was your takeaway.
That
Your only
was-
takeaway.
That was your only takeaway from 9/11. and you guys were above the age of 18 when 9/11 happened. Like, come on, man. Like, what? Like, that was your takeaway from 9/11?
It was fucking nuts. You know, honestly, I felt bad because I remember reading these articles in the paper because at the time I just moved out this way to the valley, and I'm going to a whole new school with whole new kids. I don't even fucking know, and like this shit happens. But it was crazy because I remember there was a lot of fucking like, I guess you could call it racism, like weird fucking racism that started to come out of this shit. Like it was weird, like because everyone was cool. Like at first, like everyone was like, "Oh, we got to unite." Like everybody was like in solidarity, and I'm like, okay, like I don't think they're gonna come over to the Central Valley, but fuck if they did, whatever, right? Like I mean, let's go. But so everybody was in solidarity, and then like I remember reading this article. Fuck, I wish I have to go like try to find it somewhere, but there was this what do they call those? What's their ethno group? They're like Indian guys, the ones that wear the fucking
Six.
The Sikh. Yeah, the guys with
ones
the
that wear the
turban.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, the fucking yeah, one of those guys got found dead in the canal, dude. I'm like, what the fuck did he have to do with this shit, man? Like, yeah, they just started attacking random motherfuckers for like no reason, like just because fuck for the cause, I guess. I don't fucking know, man.
You know, that's the thing though about like people who are stupid. It's like people who are stupid and do shit like that. It's like you could put your energy and your emotions into something productive, but then you decide to do that and you don't even bother to like read up on wait a second. Actually Muslims actually hunted after Sikh people and like persecuted actively Sikh people in India from what I understand.
Yeah, for
And
real.
so it's kind of like a double whammy. It's like, dude, you kind of a dick for going after these people actually. Like, oh, like I mean, for me, like growing up in the valley, like for Sikh people, you know, who have like the Gurdwaras, my cheap ass family would always be like, "Oh fuck yeah!" Like on their days where they would have religious days, we'd always go and have fucking free Indian food,
Hella food and
like
shit. Yeah.
Indian buffet or whatever with the Sikh dudes, and so like you know, with them being targeted with all of like the post 9/11 stuff, it was always really sad because it would always be like, oh man, why are you guys going after the free Indian buffet people?
No, that's fucking crazy, man. And like I mean, fuck, I guess they got the last laugh. I feel like fucking there's like an Indian on every corner now, man. Like
I
shout out
know,
to shout out to the Indian folks out there who are fucking doing big things.
dude. Yeah, doing big things at like local liquor stores with like Dodge Challengers. I I love those guys. They're very big jats, or what? Big jats.
Big chance.
You
No,
know
it's crazy. No, it's fucking nuts because it's like you go back to 2000. Like I don't know, at least when I was growing up, like I remember like you could, if I got on a time machine right now, went back to 2001, and like I asked people like, hey man, you want to go have some
hot tub
chicken
time
curry? Yeah, you want to have some masala for dinner? Like, what the fuck do you say about my mama? Like, they didn't have no fucking Indian restaurants. It was all it was fucking liquor stores and cabs. That was it, right? Oh, and the ice cream man. Ice cream man shit's still around, right? But like now they're fucking like they got everything. They got restaurants. Fucking they all do Uber. A lot of them do. They're like they're taking over big, but good for them. Fuck it. You know what? Hey, they stick together. I can respect somebody who sticks together, right? Like
I agree. I agree. I mean, like seriously though, when I look at communities who stick together and like do their own shit, I mean, like that's admirable. Because I come from a community where we can barely get our own shit together. Everyone's fucking fighting with each other. Everyone's got a big ass fucking opinion for no fucking reason too. Like I would get it if people have big opinions if they're gonna do something about it, but there's definitely some people where it's like they have a big opinion just to have a big opinion, and then they do nothing with it, and then it's like, wow, you had a lot to say, but you didn't want to do anything with that, like you didn't want to do anything with that. Okay, where was that effort when it came to anything else that you were talking about? You know
that's
what
why
I
like,
mean?
yeah, that's why like, I don't really give a fuck what anyone has to say. Like if I'm gonna do some shit, I'm just gonna do it. Like
That's
I'll
so
deal
real.
with the consequence later.
Oh yeah,
And like I'm definitely not taking any advice from no boomer or nothing like that. That's for
that's
sure.
so real. I mean, shout out to my Indian people because I love curry buffets and I love the free Gurdwara like food
The
like
freaking
dinners
bar,
they have. Yeah. I mean that's so it's cool, you know, like the Jakwara or whatever project or whatever where they go like clean the highways. I mean it's so chill. I love it. It's a positive influence, you know? Like I remember I think there was like one event we went to, right, where there was like a bunch of Sikh
Oh
people,
yeah.
right? And they were saying that like, oh yeah, we have like like Sikh people were the first people for the Second Amendment because they had the kirtan or whatever it was called, like the knife.
Yeah, it's like they give you it's like a knife or like a sword. It's kind of long and
It's
like
epic.
I know like historically they needed it because like the Hindus would attack them. So
Right.
like like if like in ancient times you'd actually kind of like want that.
Right.
What? There was some kind of civil beef going on between the Indian cultures, or what?
I mean, Indian beef is one way to put it. Maybe chicken.
Or not to put it, yeah, because I think you're gonna piss people off saying anything about the cows.
Sorry, guys. I didn't mean it that way.
But yeah, they're a really cool like group of people. I have a good friend from college who's Sikh, and her whole thing was like she wanted to be a physician's assistant. She became a physician's assistant, and now she's a physician's assistant in the middle of nowhere doing her thing, and that's like a very righteous, and I think Jewish people talk about a lot about this idea about like righteousness and practice and righteousness, and I think that like the irony being that like a lot of groups do that sense
a
lot more intuitively than like you know what I mean, like Jewish people do, converts or otherwise. Like I don't know.
Speaking of like the Jewish culture, you guys been following this guy Rabbi Shmuley? You know who that is?
Yeah.
Look at this shit on Instagram. I've been watching this dude for a while now. I'm like, what? Is he a real rabbi or is that just bullshit?
I don't know. I think it's from what I can tell he is, but I don't know.
He's always on some shit. I don't know. I gotta catch up with that guy one of these days.
He's very Los Angeles rabbi.
Should try to get him on the show.
Yeah, that's right.
No, yeah, but as far as like the Indians go, like I said, I mean, fuck, like it's crazy. Like they've actually, I haven't been to the Gurdwara or nothing like that. I mean, I've had Indian food before. I've had my fair share. It's good stuff, but I can't eat a whole lot of it, to be honest with you.
I feel it though. I think, I don't know, I had a lot of good friends growing up that were from that community, and so it's always been pretty chill for me. But like I guess the way that I see it is like you see how like put together certain groups are with like how they deal with certain situations, and it's like, oh dude, that's pretty cool. Like I don't know how you guys are like, how do you guys get your ducks in a row? You can't help but like think about that. Like how is it that everyone has their shit together and is aligned on certain kinds of topics, and then you see like your own community and it's like, oh, like, well, can we like agree on one thing, just one thing? Like,
I feel like I don't know. I feel like we're distant, but we're not so distant because I feel like cultures do share similarities. Like, we're just talking about Indian people, and like they drink this drink. It's called kava, and this shit fucks you up. I've had it before. I've been to a couple parties. They got their like little wooden bowls, and everybody's just like,
yeah, like all these like Samoans. And, like,
but yeah, I was gonna say my dad was from the islands, and they did that shit too. They fucking it's a Polynesian thing, right? So it's like, right. I mean, it's shared cultures, I guess. They do that back in India, and I guess some Southeast Asian countries do it too. But it's like, I mean, that's like I said, shared similarities. But like, you want to talk about like other cultures, I mean, you'll find similarities everywhere. I mean, look at the Native Americans; they celebrate certain holidays like we do too. So,
yeah, that's true.
You guys ever been to any reservations or anything like that?
Didn't we like try to plan like a honeymoon or some shit like that at the Blackfoot reservation one time?
A long time ago. Never been to like a real reservation, like except like just kind of driving through some of the casinos, but like
I have a completely different experience with that because my aunt used to be the executive chef for a big Indian casino back in the valley, and her thing was basically, well, I wouldn't say I grew up on, but I definitely had a lot of exposure to Native American life within that area surrounding the casino. And I will say one thing, dude, the gas is hella cheap. The gas is hella cheap, dude. Like, you can go there and get pretty good, decent amount like of fuel. But
What?
also what's fascinating too is like um a lot of people's lives can be subsidized sometimes, but sometimes having your life subsidized isn't that great of a thing too. Because then it's really difficult to see what's outside of, your community and your world. And that can be kind of a sort of like point of difficulty too. So a lot of like these reservations deal with issues of addiction, especially to alcohol and other drugs. And then at my previous job as a firefighter, I had a lot of people who were former firefighters on the Indian reservation down in Southern California, like I would say like Temecula area. And they had a lot of patients who had issues with drug addiction, and a lot of it is because they were given a check every month, to subsidize their lifestyle. Like, you wouldn't know, these dudes look like Mexican dudes going down to San Diego, having shit, and they're literally Native American. You would never know. And he would be like, and I hated it too because he was such a stupid ass too. He'd be like, I was a firefighter down there, if I had a check every month, I would be a streamer playing video games every month. I would be a streamer playing video games every month, and that's what I would do all day. And I was like, bro, you didn't learn anything from your experiences there, man. Like, that's what you got. Like, oh, if you got like a check every month, you'd be a video game streamer. Come freaking on, man. Come on.
No, they got fuck that. Like I can't. I've never gone to the reservation.
It's a fun place.
I mean, but it's crazy to me because, like, if you actually look at a map of the whole U.S., there's so many different fucking tribes out there. I think,
Absolutely.
like, on my mom's side, we got Navajo or one of those, like, Arizona-based tribes. And I'm like, I know nothing about that shit. But, like, I've always kind of wanted to go check it out, like, just to see, like, what they do there. Like, see their powwows, like what kind of like food they're serving up, But my thing is like, are they prejudiced? That's my first thing. Like, are we gonna like if we walked on there, would they let us on the land, or are they gonna be like, get the fuck out of here? Like,
It depends. I think it depends on the area. A lot of like what I've seen in Southern California, at least talking to Native American folks, is it depends on the politics and what drives like kind of like the day-to-day lives of the people who live there. So for a lot of the politics, I can only speak to like Southern California, what moves the politics there is water and access to water, and how that like kind of like informs their lives like in that like time, right? So like for example, people in Southern California that are indigenous, the water politics and where the water goes, whether that be San Diego and the other surrounding communities, really like kind of drives how they do their politics and politicking there too, and how they define like, well, what is like a real Native American who lives in that area versus like someone who may be a Native American in name only and not. And a lot of it is like a city Indian versus like a non-city Indian, because depending on where you live and where your zip code is, well, you may be subject to the water laws that are there and not. You know what I mean? Like, you may be able to reap all the benefits, whether that be the free college or whatever, and leave and be a city Indian, or you may be someone that wants to keep with their people, stay at home, marry with other people or whatever, right? I used to have a frequent flyer at the Native American reservation would tell me all about this stuff. And I would be like, dude, that's fucking crazy. And you know what's crazy too? She hella loved like fuck, what was this guy called? Guantanamo Bay, Harold and Kumar. She hella loved Harold and Kumar, dude. She would not shut up about Harold and Kumar. That was like her favorite thing ever. But yeah, like, it's a great movie. But yeah, like when I think about like Native American people, like I don't think about like someone who's like removed from space and time. I think about people who are like that, where they're in the here and now and are affected by like these policies about water, because that's what affects them. You know, especially in California, just generally, like the water rights, the rights to water, especially when it comes to indigenous tribes, is a big thing.
But see, that's like, yeah, I get it. They're basically they're trying to claim rights to resources, which is great.
For sure.
Like I was telling you, like my dad, like, and I have always had this debate. My dad is like, rest his soul. He's gone now, but he when he was alive, he was always like, oh, I'm so proud to be fucking like Hawaiian and da da da. But then like I broke it down and I'm like, well, when you really break it down, like what the fuck is a Hawaiian? Because like his mother's Japanese and his father's Portuguese. Like what the fuck really is a true Hawaiian? Like if you really break it down, these people like that say that they're like indigenous, like I get it. There's like, what do they call it? There's like those pacts that happen, like those it's kind of like a conversion process if you look at it.
An
But
agreement.
then yeah, it's like an agreement, and then like you get rights to the land and you get considered one of the tribe, right? But my other thing is like, well, when you really break it down, like what is a true quote unquote like member of that tribe? Like, do they really have that, or is it all just like ideologies and like people congregating together? You know what I mean? Like as a people.
It's hard to say sometimes.
Because I mean, if you look at natives, it's kind of the same thing, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and like with them, it's like I think it also varies by the tribe. Like I know some do blood quantum, and then some you've got to be like a certain percentage,
Right.
And so like I know like the ones that like, or I think just generally all of them at a certain point like down the line, like most won't qualify because like they're like there's like a lot of like interracial that happens, and so like they get less and less like I know there's situations where like maybe the parents are considered like let's say part of the Navajo tribe, for example. But the kid, you know, and so it just gets kind of weird, and like at a certain point it just gets kind of like very eugenicist-y and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I get your point though, where it's like at what sort of point like
do we even like start to consider people
yeah
experiences?
Yeah, like that's kind of where I was going with that. Like, who is still considered a true, like, original member of this, the tribe or whatever? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. That was just something I always thought about for the longest time. Like, I hear all these people saying like they're Hawaiian and stuff. I'm not dissing Hawaiian people or nothing, but it's like, well, what is a Hawaiian? Tell me what it is first. You know what I mean? Like, because like when I got cousins over here that are like Puerto Rican and they're saying they're Hawaiian, I'm like, well, yeah, you're an islander, but you're from fucking Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? You're not fucking Hawaiian. Like, what are you talking about? Like, and then people start getting all offensive over that kind of stuff too. Like, they get really defensive.
People keep track of changes that have real legitimate kind of like, I guess, like state kind of consequences, right? Where both like money and like identity and all these kinds of big things are kind of on the line. I think that's kind of the real question, right? Where at the end of the day, does like the money, as perverted as that sounds, where does the money and the resources go to people where their identity is changing because they live in places and lands where resources are always being fought over, where ideas of who they are being fought over all the time? I think that's kind of a big question to think about. I sound like a fucking annoying ass liberal arts professor.
No, you're good. We love that shit. We do, because it's like, it's necessary. We got to ask these questions. And I'm not tripping off these liberal art teachers in these campuses. And what's up with that shit? Like, are campuses ever going to like start? I don't know. I shouldn't like knock on fucking campuses because I haven't gone to one in so long.
Okay, at the end of the day, though, you don't need a degree to ask these large questions.
Yeah, no.
You don't need a degree. You don't need school to ask these questions about, oh, where do I belong or where do other people belong? At the end of the day, this is something that people, no matter where they are at the end of the day, can ask themselves. Where am I in this American experience, you know? You don't need anything or anyone to tell you whether you can or cannot question the things around you. I think that's the magic in that. And I think people need to like realize that. Like, they don't need all this ivory tower, you see whatever bullshit to be like, oh, like, where am I in this world? Where
No,
am I, in all of this?
You
People
guys,
can do it themselves.
you guys ever step foot on UC Berkeley?
Yeah.
You been there?
Yeah.
I'm dying to go there. I haven't gone there. Like, I want to know what it's like because, like, I hear UC Berkeley is like so fucking far down the progressive rabbit hole. It's unreal.
We should do a straight shaloming field trip.
Sit at the table.
Yeah, I know a couple of restaurants, I guess, kosher restaurants in that area. And maybe we can, like, I don't know. I mean, you and Jimmy can wrap tefillin in, like, parallel or whatever. And I don't know.
I'll set up a fucking little couch out there. We can just do the fucking show live if they really
let's
want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I don't care. Like, I don't know. I've been
It's
tempted to, like,
wild.
check that out.
We'd have to be careful we don't get like beat up though or something. Like you'd have to have someone
Well,
like
that's
actually
why
like,
you have
like
to
watching.
run cardio. That, I mean, like, look, the most Jewish thing is running away from your problems. Okay, so like, I think we can do that. I think we can figure that out.
Fuck, dude, Berkeley is like a straight underworld. Like, I would love to take a field trip out there. I mean, I haven't gone there. I don't really drink kombucha. I don't fucking really do like a lot of the shit they're probably doing, but I'll be glad to check it out, man.
Oh hell yeah!
Kind of, I don't know. That's something that I'm looking forward to now. Like, let's set that up now so that way.
Figure that out. I mean, I need to eventually make my way up to the Bay Area, anyways, so I can. I don't know.
Where did Berkeley go wrong? Like, how did they become? Like, you guys probably don't remember this because I think this is before your time. But I remember in the '90s. You can look this up because I grew up in the Bay Area. There was this guy that was on the news like every fucking night. Do you remember this shit? He was called like the Naked Man on campus.
Holy shit! Yeah, I remember that. I grew up in the Bay Area too. Like, a good half of my life, I grew up in like Silicon Valley kind of area, and I know exactly what you're fucking talking about. Berkeley was like, it used to be like the Santa Cruz of the Bay Area, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, just a weird hippy dippy kind of place, and I don't really know where it changed. I feel like the synergy kind of happened where the culture with Stanford kind of started to synthesize. Like, they started to kind of like mix a little bit, because before that, Berkeley kind of felt more like a Santa Cruz kind of deal. Like, everyone was chill, everyone was like whatever, right? Like, smart but chill, and like, figuring it out. But then it was like, oh yeah, tech this and then tech that, and it was like an early 2010s kind of thing. Because I had parents who were involved in like, the whole tech boom of the 2010s, and I think that's
Right.
that period where it really changed.
My question is, like, when did it turn into fucking like Mad Max Thunderdome over there? Like, I
don't
feel
know,
like it's
Yeah,
strange.
Tom,
What happened?
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it felt sort of abrupt when that stuff sort of happened. It just kind of came out of nowhere. It used to be just kind of like a chill, oddball kind of place.
I
think
think. What were you saying?
Oh, I was gonna say I think it's I think a lot of it is like when like tech like blew up, like, and like people saw, oh, I can make a lot of money, like
Absolutely.
this isn't like just like a thing where like, because computers when they first came out, they were kind of like this thing that like only like the nerds, like sort of like the rejects from like society sort of like were like really into them, and I know like a lot of people thought they were like a fad, for example, and then like when it really blew up, like you start having smartphones coming out, you see people making like a lot of money with like all these apps and stuff. I think it starts to attract this like very specific type of person where they're kind of there to like climb like the ladder, and they're going to do stuff like embrace liberalism, right? Because like around this time where like you have smartphones like becoming ubiquitous and getting in everyone's hands, you have colleges like churning out tons of like students, right? And so it devalues the degree, like your degree,
Yeah.
like back in the day, like like when the boomers were around, to kind of go back to that, if you went to college, like going to college was like a big thing, and like your degree was much more valuable because a lot of people didn't go to college, like you didn't have to go to college to like have a life, have a family. So very few people went, like compared to like now. So your degree like had more value. And then cut to like, the tech boom and everything, and like colleges are like pushing, like I'm sure like you can remember this too, like 10 years ago everyone was like, you need to go to college and like become like a programmer, and like you're gonna make six figures, that's how you're
Yep.
gonna like get ahead. And
Yeah.
that's what was shoved down people's throats. And so like you have all these people going, and like it's like simple supply and demand. There's too many degrees, right? And so people like they start looking for other ways, especially like when like you get out of college and like you have the same degree as everybody else, basically the same sort of resume as everybody else, right? It's kind of cookie cutter. You need something to kind of like distinguish yourself, make yourself more special to get a job. And so I think that's where a lot of them started like kind of signaling like, oh, like I'm liberal, or like that's where you start seeing like the affinity group stuff,
that.
like I'm a queer woman, or like I'm like a queer X, like gay,
I'm a cisgender fucking helicopter, like fuck, man, like
yeah. And like at a certain stage, it kind of becomes like like in Pokemon, like you collect the badges, you gotta like it's like that, you're collecting all these like badges, and like but like in a way it is helping you, like you are getting ahead, at least like kind of during that, yeah, in that way. And like I think that's like kind of also what contributed to it. And then also like at some point like in the culture, it like and this is ironic because I know like Berkeley like historically is where like the free speech movement started.
Yep.
It got to this stage where like you can't have your opinion, like if you say your opinion, not only are you wrong, but it's like it's hate speech, it's violence, and yeah, like I'm gonna ruin you, your life like moving forward is over, no one's gonna like hire you, yada yada.
It's a more sort of corporate culture at the end of the day, right? A lot of, I would say, and maybe perhaps that's like the more liberal side of me, a lot of well-meaning social movements that were born out of the Bay Area, in that period between the 1950s beatnik movement and the 1960s, right? Kind of became perverted by the corporate cultural movement that came out of these university settings right after that time. This idea that like, well, we're going to create all this awesome social change, but actually, we're going to like actually like fuck all over all of these people who are subversive. And I mean, that's kind of what ended up happening to a lot of people.
It's kind of that, but I think it also goes deeper because like having gone to college, and especially when you talk to like more of the old head professors, a lot of them that are liberal, there's this weird belief amongst a lot of them where like the Soviet Union fell apart not because like communism doesn't actually work,
right?
Like to them it fell apart because it was actually undermined, like it was undermined by like the US and like all these like subversives and like stuff. And so like there's this other issue too of like, well, like you go to these college campuses and you see people like walking around with like communist hats. You see people be like like quoting like Mao and stuff, and like saying that like communism like a big like trope about leftists is like, oh, like they always say like communism like it works. It's just, what I mean. And a lot of it goes back to like a lot of like the older professors, like when the USSR fell, they didn't view it as like communism like is bad or it doesn't work in reality. They viewed it as like, no, like communism was like undermined. It actually does work. That's why like, there's that whole like meme about like how like they'll say like communism actually works. I mean, except like, and then they'll conveniently ignore every single time like it's it's failed. Or they'll say like, oh, that's not real communism. Like that was something that like they loved to like say. Yeah, and so I think there's also that, but I don't know, man. Like
well, once again, man, the USSR, that was like boomer shit right there, man. Like like we're fucking just going right back in a big circle, aren't we? Like
exactly. Like there's kind of no moving forward, and I think that's kind of what's happening now. We're kind of sort of socially confronting this idea that like, well, culturally we haven't moved past the issues that have come with like the boomer generation, right? And so like, what's like the whole new thing now? Like, oh, like China, right? And I think millennials and Zoomers are trying to figure out, well, what do we do with like the larger geopolitical threat of China and I don't know, Iran or whatever the fuck, right? Like, what are we gonna do with that? A threat that I would say actually most millennials and Zoomers don't really give two shits about.
Well, yeah, I think that's also why like you see all the China maxing stuff like online. Like
Exactly.
I'm not sure how much that you see, but like I know like compared to like the older generations, like the younger generations typically have like a much more favorable like view of
Chinese people.
like China and like so on and so forth. Versus like the boomers where they have this sort of like
Right.
Red Dawn like mentality. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, exactly, but honestly, the media really feeds into that bullshit. Like I remember I was talking with, I think I was talking with Zeppin, and I know we brought him up. He's not even on this show, but we brought him up. But
Vegan Zionist.
no, the vegans, but he he brought this shit up to me one time, and he had a really strong point, and I didn't even think about this. Like, if you watch the Fox News or you watch CNN or whatever network, CBS, MSNBC, it doesn't fucking matter. You notice their commercials when they come on. It's always appealing to like these old people. Like, do you suffer from wet AMD? You could take this pill now. It's going to take your pain away. You have like, yeah, it's like they're appealing to like none of the like. Come on, when's the last time you saw a fucking like a 16-year-old person on like Jardiance, something like? Come on, I don't know. Like they're not appealing to. You can tell who their audience is. They're feeding this Red Dawn mentality, as you called it, to these people.
Oh yeah. And that's where it sells.
It's like the boogeyman, like, and like, oh, there's someone out there that's worse. And it's like, come on now. Like, I mean, honestly, I can give two shits too. The way I look at it is like, when you got a country that has fucking like what, over 2 billion people, like that speaks in volumes. Like, you're obviously not going to get rid of fucking every motherfucker in there. You know what I mean? So, like, come on now.
Well, like, I think it's insane to expect otherwise too.
It's stupid. Yeah, it's fucking dumb. Like, why are we wasting our time on that shit?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it feels weird to even make that like a goal, but then I feel like that's like kind of like the idea or objective for a lot of folks, which is like weird. We live in a very diverse country.
Well, that's why, like, I hate like when the debates come up. We're always talking about the same shit. We're talking about like abortion rights, fucking like.
Oh yeah.
Like, can we move on to other shit that's important? Like, how about the fact that like we're eating some fucked up food, and like people forgot all about March on Monsanto when they were trying to like get all the bullshit chemicals out of our like. Can we talk about shit like that? Like, I feel like that's a good debate topic. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like the foods that we eat, or like the chemical like pollutants that we're subject to, especially living in certain areas of California, but even in the rest of the United States that we're subject to without our own control of dealing with all the pollutants and issues with our food sources and like our environment, our water. Kind of, those are the big things. I mean, we can talk about like all these issues that people deal with at the university level, whether be like, oh my god, I can't be like this or that or that. But like at the end of the day, like most Americans actually contend with big things. Economic issues, which is things are too expensive. Two, which is environmental issues. They're subjective to, like issues that, their food is being poisoned, their water is being poisoned. And, three, which is like, I don't know, like a spitball issue, which is like whatever they have to deal with in their environment. I don't know, roving gangs of whatever, insert minority, whatever. But like, there's a lot of issues I think a lot of people deal with outside of what most people in California has.
Exactly. Well, there's bigger shit at hand, and like I feel like honestly, like someone's gonna probably take this clip and be like, "Oh, this motherfucker doesn't care about abortion rights or whatnot." But to tell you the truth, it's not that. It's just that I'm saying there's bigger shit out there that we can be worrying about. Like we have other, like that's very important, but like there's other shit out there that's happening in this world that's like way more fucked up. Like way more fucked up.
Abortion is a choice. And you can also like take the Amtrak to California.
You can take the Amtrak to California. You could fucking you could still legally buy cigarettes and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
You can walk over to like your local liquor store and like You know, you can trip on your like staircase, okay? Like there's options.
You know, nobody's talking about secondhand smoke anymore. I remember they used to like bring that shit up all the time. Like secondhand smoke is worse than smoking, but like nobody gives a fuck anymore. Ever since like vapes and shit came out, like nobody talks
Yeah.
about that anymore.
Vapes are like third or fourth hand smoking now. I mean, I've seen people who are like only 3 or 4 year like constant vape smokers, and they go, you know, they're sent straight to the ICU because the vape sends them, you know, they have issues because of that. So that's kind of what happens.
Who knows what the long term effects of that are going to be? I don't know, but we'll figure this shit out. I just, like I said, I just wished in the future they would set up like more modern debates about shit that's more modern. I mean, we're still talking about like shit from way back when. It doesn't make any sense anymore. I don't know. And half these guys don't even have plans for the shit they're talking about anyways. They're just going off at the mouth to get elections, you know? So
It's not like they're going to be thriving around the time where their decisions will make a difference.
no, exactly. Speaking of real quick, I want to, because I didn't want to get off like the topic of what we were going to talk about earlier. Where these altcoins. Now I'm going to break some hearts. I just want to talk about the shit coins for a moment here of the world, because I have a buddy of mine who was telling me to buy this Monero, and it's just fucking tanking. Like it's gone to shit. I don't know. Has anyone else had any like recent experiences with altcoins, meme coins, anything?
I mean, like I used to trade it a lot, like especially like 2018 to like 2022 ish. But you know, it's kind of sad. It's kind of disappointing because like I get the whole logic. Like if we're gonna talk about like cryptocurrency generally, I get the logic behind like whoever wrote like Bitcoin, right? Like whether you think that's like the government or like it's some random dude or it's like some
Epstein.
spaghetti monster. Yeah, like, whatever. Like I get the original purpose where you wanted something that wasn't controlled by like some sort of central authority. Like, I can get that, right? Like not to kind of get too deep in like the weeds of like the conspiracy theorists and like, you know, the Federal Reserve and all that stuff, but I can get that logic, right? But for me, I would say the most disappointing part is like how so many people got into crypto and they just made tokens that are basically just like shit coins, or it's like rug pulls, you know, like you can just Google this shit where it's like, oh, like this coin was like a rug pull, this coin was like a rug pull, and like the like you know, the creator runs off and like a lot of people lose their money, and it's just kind of like that's the most disappointing part, right? Like there wasn't actually this like financial revolution like kind of like Satoshi or whoever that is, right? Like promise. It's basically just a way for like certain people to enrich money. Yeah, like to launder and enrich themselves, right? Well, everyone else kind of gets screwed over.
Well, that's that. Yeah, but that's like one side of the problem. The other side is, so a lot of these coins, they're just modern pump and dump fucking schemes, basically. Like I had a friend who bought, he was all excited. I guess his wallet just recently went up to I mean, he bought these below, like they were like a fraction of a penny, right, for each coin. And I guess they jumped and his wallet went up to like a couple, like I think he had like over like 50, 60 grand. But the problem is when you're trying to sell these tokens back to the market, nobody wants to buy this shit. Like you could buy all you want. You could buy millions of these fucking things, but you can't sell them back all at once. Like there has to be people willing to buy your coins back from you. And I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes in, is people think like, oh, I'm going to buy, but can you sell is the other part to it too, you know? Like, it's just, honestly, it's like I said, it's like pump and dump type shit. I mean, this is like the modern day, like Wolf of Wall Street type shit going on here, man. Like, I'm not going to buy any more of these shit coins. I'm going to cut a break on those. I just been looking at like money market accounts and things like that. Those are at least it's low risk in those kind of deals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know, like so much of it is kind of like Beanie Babies. Like I think I'm sure you would have like remember that craze where like people were like buying these things, and yeah, like you can buy them and like on paper, like you can like they're like an obscene price, right? But can you actually sell it to somebody, right, who's gonna like give you that money? I think that's kind of the difficult part. But like when it comes just to like crypto, just generally, it's I don't know. It's just like it's just nothing more than like it's just kind of disappointing, you know. That's it. Like, and also it's like who actually really uses it like to buy stuff with
Drug
like.
dealers.
Okay, well, yeah, I know, but like what normal,
Yeah.
like what like normal person, like you know what I mean? Like remember when like a while ago, like there was that ad where it's like a metal card, you know, and
Crypto.com.
yeah, and it's like who actually used that, like, and even if you use that, you defeat the purpose of like crypto because it's like you still have to like sell the crypto to get money like to put on the card. It's basically a debit card with like extra steps, so it's just like it's like none of
What
it
is the
really
point
like
of all of
yeah,
this?
exactly.
That's so crazy, man. Well, it's like she was saying, like if you ask Z, he's gonna tell you like, oh, I paid my rent with this shit and da da da, and I just bought my. There's a restaurant I go to now that they only accept crypto, and I'm like, that's so fucking shady, man. Like, what the fuck are they really doing behind those counters, man? Like,
Weird.
I mean, not even just that. If you have to like go out of your way, right? Like inconvenience yourself to find like the one restaurant or like the one landlord, right, who like accepts crypto, it's like is it really mainstream? Is it really like actually like is it actually
Acceptable.
making your life like easier? Because you gotta go out of your way. Like that's just kind of like you're just adding more hurdles to like your everyday sort of like life.
Economies scale to people. That's
Yeah,
kind
man.
of part of it. Economies are supposed to scale naturally to people. That's how markets work.
right?
We artificially do random shit that alienates people. Well, that's it's kind of sus. That feels antithetical to the idea of like how economies kind of do their thing. You know what I mean?
I can't fucking wait to look back in history books one day and just see a bunch of fucking like articles on like, oh, people use this shit coin to
Blah blah.
yeah to buy drugs and fucking operate massage parlors. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck, man?
Hey, did you know that like did you know that there was a very specific gay sex coin in which people bought gay sex?
What the fuck? Are you fucking serious?
No, I'm just fucking around,
Oh, I
dude.
can see that shit though. I can see that like it's some kind of like headline. That's so crazy. Oh man, all the people out there. I hope no one's offended by that. We mean no harm. Do whatever you please with your
And
shit coin.
Especially lesbians.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I think we should wrap up here. On that note,
Yeah, especially you, dude.
we got some guests coming up next week, hopefully, because two folks fucking couldn't take the heat. But if you want to take the heat, come on the show.
That's right.
Straight to Roman, up and out this bitch. All right. You guys have a good night. Have a good week.
Sound.
I'll see y'all next week right
Mhm.
here live.
No, man.